So when we talk about graphic design, it's important to be aware of some of the design elements that are used to create good graphic design and some of the elements that you don't even realize that are in play when you look at a piece of design. Before I start delving into the elements of graphic design, I wanted to share one of my favorite quotes, and it's a Milton Glaser quote, and we'll learn a little bit more about him as the year goes on. And one of his favorite things to say was that there are three responses to a piece of design: yes, no, and wow. And wow is the one to aim for. I just had to toss that one in. So the first element of graphic design I'd like to share with you guys is balance. Balance is talking about whether something is symmetrical or asymmetrical. Those are two terms that can kind of describe how balance works. You can see the element on the left here is symmetrical. It is even on both sides. The element on the right is asymmetrical. The left side is different than the one on the right. Let's have a look at an example of a balanced design. Here is an example of a symmetrical design. The elements on the left are the same as the elements on the right. There's almost a central line going down it. The type is centered here, and it gives a sense of calm. Let's click on, let's look at some logos that use that concept of symmetry. Well, the logo on the top left is the Starbucks logo, for anyone who doesn't recognize that. And you can see that that is using symmetry here. It is a balanced logo. It's symmetrical. The left side is exactly the same as the right side. If you drew a line down the middle, it would be exactly the same. And it's the same for all of these other logos. Who knows what this logo is? This is the Target logo, and that is very symmetrical. Everything's the same on the left and the right. McDonald's, one of my favorite logos, is very symmetrical. Everything's the same on the left and the right. And the bottom right one is Chanel. We couldn't leave that one out. One of my favorite logos. When you draw that line right down the middle, it's very symmetrical. And it gives a sense of balance. It gives a sense of responsibility and competence and stability. Here's a graphic example of a balanced and symmetrical layout. Asymmetry is something that's different on the left and different on the right. It is something that is not balanced. It's something that has a bit more kind of motion going on. You can see that this poster is got a lot of motion going on. It's different on the left-hand side. It's different on the right. There's energy going. It draws your eyes from the left to the right. It kind of makes you want to get up and sort of dance almost. Let's look at some logos that are asymmetrical, which means they're not balanced. So the Facebook logo is not balanced. Nike logo is asymmetrical. Pepsi is asymmetrical, different on the left and the right. Hierarchy is another theme that we're going to talk about, another element. Visual hierarchy is formed when extra visual weight is given to the most important element or message in your design. What hierarchy does, as a designer, uses different tools to draw the eye to the most important piece of information. So you can see on this little poster that we want you to look at the title here, the most important word, which is hierarchy. We go down here, we can see that your eyes are being drawn to the large text here, and then there's the smaller text, and then maybe if you're interested, you'll read that last little bit. But they've also made it yellow to make it pop out slightly. And it can be achieved in lots of different ways, with size, with color, and with different font placings. If we go down here, we'll see again, look at how your eye is drawn to these different chunks of information. What about the little block on the top there? That's probably the last one your eye is going to look at. And these are just things to think about as you guys start to work on your designs. This is an interesting use of hierarchy, and what they've done, all they did was they just changed the color. This is exactly the same graphics here. All those little shapes are exactly the same, but all they did was they changed the color to make that pop out so that that man stands out, okay? And look at how the meaning changes of both of these posters when you look at them. And here you guys can look at this maybe in your own time for a bit longer, but it does show you a rundown of some different ways you can draw importance to your designs. So there's size, color, contrast. The style element is different here, so it pops. And then you've got different groupings here, which chunk out. Then you can look down here, and this would be an example of where there's no hierarchy because everything is screaming out for attention. So therefore your eye doesn't know where to look. How about these two pieces of information? Well, the one on the left, I don't even want to read because it's just a huge block of text and I don't know where to begin. The one on the right is much easier. It gives me the information I want to see and it leads me along a path. So you can think about hierarchy as if you were walking into a building and you were following signs. If you didn't have good hierarchy, then you wouldn't know where to go next and you would be lost. So the point of hierarchy is to make it so that you're not lost as a viewer. And this person, Jane Smith, wants to hand out her business card. And it might not stand out if we look at the one on the left, but the one on the right will stand out because when the person's looking for a card and they're looking for Jane Smith, they're going to see that right away. It's going to pop. Let's look at alignment. Alignment is something that you guys are going to start to become much more aware of as you work with bodies of text, okay? Alignment plays a big role in organizing your designs, and it can give an ordered appearance to images, shapes, and blocks of text by eliminating elements placed in a disheveled manner. What does a disheveled manner mean? A disheveled manner means just kind of disorganized and messy. It's important to find the invisible line in your designs or in any design. And it's all about organizing your elements relative to that line, okay? And we're going to start to look at some of the lines. When we look at alignment, we look at something that's left aligned, right aligned, or center aligned. What does that mean? Well, here are some examples. These are aligned on top of one another. This is aligned on top of one another, and this is the bottom edge alignment. They're aligned to the edges. This is aligned to the center. Each one of those shapes aligns nicely. If I had moved that circle up a bit, it wouldn't have the same look. It would look more disjointed. There would be less of a sense of unity. How about this poster? Or actually, it looks like packaging. What is it? It might be an ad. I'm not quite sure what it is, but whatever it is, it definitely gives a sense of calm. It gives a sense of class. It gives a sense of confidence here. The first thing I look at is that it's chocolate. The next word that comes down is that it's pure. Then I'm going to linger a little longer because it's so beautifully designed. It's decadent, and they're telling me to indulge in it. Okay? This is all center aligned. Moving along here, we have two chunks of text. I am a bodybuilder is aligned to the center on the top, and it's aligned to the left. It's left aligned to the bottom. That's where we're going to stop with our elements. And now I'm going to have you guys start to create some elements that use some of these principles that we've just learned.